The pain came first. It was sharp, sudden, and cold, like falling into deep water without knowing how to swim. Lily Chen remembered the sound of brakes, someone shouting her name, and then silence. In her last moments, she saw her brother's face, pale and panicked, but his hands were holding Anna, not her. It was an accident, they said later. She was in the wrong place at the wrong time. No one said the truth out loud. She had gone there in Anna's place. When Lily opened her eyes again, she expected darkness. Instead, she saw white. A white ceiling. White curtains. The faint smell of disinfectant. She froze. This room, she knew this room. Her heart began to pound as she slowly turned her head. On the bedside table sat a familiar glass of warm water, a folded jacket, and a calendar on the wall. 10 years ago. The date was the day she was officially brought back to the Chen family. Lily closed her eyes, her fingers trembling beneath the blanket. So this was rebirth. Not heaven. Not hell. Just another chance. Voices drifted in from outside the room. Be gentle with her today, a woman said softly. She's been through enough. That was her mother. Mary Chen. The same gentle voice that always sounded kind but never chose Lily. I know, a man replied. Calm, firm. But Anna is nervous too. We can't ignore her feelings. Her father. David Chen. Lily felt her chest tighten. Some things never changed. The door opened. Mary entered first, smiling carefully, like she was approaching a stranger instead of her own daughter. Lily, you're awake? Lily nodded slowly. She forced herself to sit up. Mary reached out, then hesitated, her hand hovering awkwardly in the air before pulling it back. Dinner will start soon. Today is an important day. Yes, Lily said quietly. I know. David followed behind her, his expression neutral. He looked at Lily the way he looked at business partners, evaluating, polite, distant. You should rest a bit more, he said. Tonight, the whole family will be together. The whole family. Lily almost laughed. After they left, Lily stared at the door for a long time. In her first life, this was the day she tried desperately to belong. She remembered how she had dressed carefully, smiled too much, spoke too softly. How she had watched Anna sit beside their parents, naturally, like she had always been there. How Lily herself had felt like a guest who overstayed her welcome. This time, she felt nothing. Only clarity. Dinner was exactly the same as Lily remembered. The long table. The expensive dishes. The careful seating arrangement. Anna sat beside Mary, holding her arm lightly. She looked fragile, her eyes red as if she had been crying. Lily, Anna said when she saw her, standing up immediately. I'm so glad you're back. I was so worried about you. Her voice was sweet. Perfect. Everyone watched Lily, waiting. In her first life, Lily had smiled and said thank you. This time, she simply nodded. I'm fine. Kevin, her older brother, frowned slightly. That's all you have to say. Lily met his eyes. Kevin had always protected Anna like a shield. In Lily's memory, he had once said, blood doesn't matter. Anna is my sister. And Lily had stood right there. I don't have much to say, Lily replied calmly. The atmosphere shifted. David cleared his throat. Tonight, we officially welcome Lily back to the family. Mary reached for Lily's hand again, this time forcing herself to hold it. You are our daughter. This is your home. Lily looked at her mother's hand. Warm. Careful. Unfamiliar. She gently pulled her hand away. I won't be staying, Lily said. Silence fell like glass shattering. What? Mary froze. I've decided to move out, Lily continued, her voice steady. I've already found a place. Kevin stood up abruptly. Are you trying to cause trouble on purpose? No, Lily said. I'm just making a choice. Anna's eyes widened. Is it because of me? She whispered. Did I do something wrong? Mary immediately turned to Anna. Of course not. Lily, don't say things like this on such an important day. David frowned. You're being emotional. This isn't reasonable. Lily looked around the table. No one asked her why. They only wanted her to stay quiet. In the past, Lily said slowly, I thought staying was the right thing. She stood up. But this time, I want to live on my own terms. She bowed slightly, polite, distant. Then she walked away. No one stopped her. And none of them realized. This was the moment everything began to collapse. Lily Chen moved out the next morning. There was no dramatic farewell. No packed cars waiting at the gate. She left with one suitcase and a backpack, carrying only what belonged to her. The driver hired by the Chen family waited outside, but Lily walked past him without slowing down. I'll take the subway, she said simply. The driver hesitated. Miss Lily, Chairman Chen said. I know what he said, Lily replied calmly. Tell him I arrived safely. She didn't look back. As the gates of the Chen house closed behind her, Lily felt something unexpected, not sadness, not anger, but relief. In her first life, she had left this house in an ambulance. This time, she walked away on her own feet. That alone made everything different. The apartment Lily rented was small. One bedroom, one window, and furniture that didn't match. The walls were thin, and the neighbors argued loudly at night. But when Lily locked the door behind her, she leaned against it and let out a slow breath. No one here expected her to behave. No one here compared her. No one here watched her reactions. She turned off her phone. For the first time in years, the silence belonged to her. 3 days later, Lily started her new job. She didn't use the name Chen. At the small tech company, she introduced herself as Lily Lin. The office was crowded and messy. People talked over each other. Someone spilled coffee and laughed instead of apologizing. No one cared where Lily came from, only whether she could do the work. Jason Wu, the team leader, glanced at her resume and raised an eyebrow. You're overqualified. I know, Lily said. Then why here? She paused, then answered honestly. Because I want to start from zero. Jason studied her for a moment, then nodded. All right. Welcome to the chaos. Lily smiled. It was small, but real. Back at the Chen house, Lily's absence felt inconvenient. At first, Mary stared at Lily's empty chair during breakfast. She didn't even take the clothes I bought for her. Kevin scoffed. She's just acting out. She'll come back when she realizes how hard life is. David said nothing, but he frowned when he saw Lily's room untouched. The bed was neatly made. The desk clean. It looked more like a hotel room than a bedroom. She didn't ask for money, Mary said quietly. Not even a card. David frowned deeper. She's being stubborn. None of them called her. Not yet. Anna was the only one who felt uneasy. At night, she lay awake, replaying Lily's calm expression at the dinner table. There was no resentment in Lily's eyes, only distance. That scared her more than anger. She didn't even argue, Anna murmured to herself. It's like she already gave up. The next morning, Anna visited the hospital for a routine checkup. The nurse frowned at the computer screen. Miss Chen, we might need to redo some of your records. Why? Anna asked nervously. There seems to be an inconsistency with your blood type. Anna laughed lightly. That's impossible. I've been coming here since I was a child. The nurse smiled apologetically. Just to be safe. Anna's fingers tightened around her bag. Meanwhile, a small conversation took place in a clinic across town. An elderly doctor flipped through an old file, adjusting his glasses. Chen family, he muttered. The name bothered him. He remembered clearly, 10 years ago, 2 children had been tested. Only one matched. Strange, he said to himself. Very strange. Lily knew none of this. Her days were full. She worked late, learned new systems, ate instant noodles at her desk. At night, she returned to her apartment, exhausted but strangely satisfied. One evening, Jason handed her a file. You don't go home much. This is home, Lily replied without thinking. Jason looked surprised but didn't press further. Later, Lily sat by the window, watching the city lights. She remembered how, in her first life, she had waited endlessly for the Chen family to call her back. This time, she didn't wait. She changed her phone number. She blocked the past. Back at the Chen house, the first crack finally appeared. Mary went to the family doctor to refill Anna's medication. The doctor hesitated, scanning the file. "Mrs. Chen," he said slowly, "do you remember if Miss Anna ever had a full DNA confirmation?" Mary blinked. Of course she did. The doctor frowned. "Because according to our records, the test was never completed." Mary's heart skipped a beat. "That's impossible," she said. "She saved our family. She's our daughter." The doctor didn't argue. But the silence that followed was loud. That night, Mary stood outside Lily's empty room for a long time. For the first time, she wondered. What if the daughter who left first was the one they should have held on to? The Chen family had been living in a quiet panic since Lily's departure. It wasn't loud arguments or dramatic confrontations that haunted the house, it was the weight of absence, like a shadow stretching across every corner. Mary Chen could barely eat. Every morning, she set Lily's place at the table out of habit, and every night, she lingered by her empty room, hoping the sound of a key would announce Lily's return. David, on the other hand, threw himself into work. But at meetings, he found himself distracted, his mind drifting to the daughter who had chosen independence over the security of their family name. He tried to tell himself it was reasonable, 10 years younger, a child's rebellion, but the thought kept gnawing at him. She left calmly, without anger. That's worse than a fight. Kevin's frustration simmered in silence. He stalked through Lily's old room when no one was watching, rifling through drawers she had never used. Everything was untouched, clean, perfect. He slammed the door shut when he realized he was crying silently. Why did she leave? Why now? It all started quietly, with a routine checkup. Anna had been asked to get a blood test as part of a school physical. The nurse glanced at the results and hesitated. "Miss Chen, I need to confirm this with the doctor," she said. Anna frowned. "Is something wrong with my blood?" The nurse avoided eye contact. "No, it's just, there seems to be an inconsistency with your medical records. We should double-check everything." Anna laughed nervously. "Inconsistency? My blood type has always been." But she stopped mid-sentence when the nurse handed her an old form. Her eyes scanned the page, then widened. Meanwhile, David was sitting in his office when a private investigator he had hired called him. "Sir, I looked into the files regarding your daughters. There's something you should see. You might want to sit down." David's hands clenched around the phone. "Explain." The investigator cleared his throat. Miss Anna was never officially adopted, legally or biologically. Her file was falsified to make it appear that way. The story your family has been told about her saving the other child, is not accurate. She wasn't born to you." There was a long pause. Then David whispered, almost to himself, "Lily." The truth spread quietly, insidiously. Mary felt her knees buckle when the investigator confirmed the details. Kevin's face went pale. Anna, when confronted, could only whisper. "Then, what does that make me?" "Your parents, they thought you were their daughter," Mary said shakily. "They loved you in their own way. But it wasn't the truth." Anna buried her face in her hands. For the first time, she wasn't the girl the family adored. She wasn't even the fake daughter who had a story. She was a stranger living in their home. David called for a family meeting in the drawing room. The room was silent except for the clock ticking loudly on the wall. "Anna," he said slowly, "we've made mistakes. Huge mistakes. But you are not who we thought you were." Anna's lips trembled. Then, Lily was the real daughter? David and Mary exchanged a guilty look. Mary's hand went to her mouth. Kevin clenched his fists. "Yes," David said finally, voice low and tight. "We abandoned her once, and now she's gone again. And she's not coming back." The words hit Mary like a punch. "But, she left because of us?" David didn't answer. Meanwhile, Lily was unaware of the storm raging in her former home. She was working late in the office, arranging her files, checking every detail herself. The city lights stretched out below her window, bright and infinite. Jason glanced at her. "You never ask about your family." Lily shook her head. "I've already been there. That life, it's not mine anymore. Jason looked thoughtful but didn't press further. And Lily, for the first time in her life, felt completely free. Back at the Chen house, the truth had created a quiet chaos. Mary couldn't sleep, Kevin barely ate, and Anna wandered the hallways, lost. They had everything, and yet, they had lost the one person who had truly belonged. And outside, Lily walked alone through the city streets, completely unaware that her absence was slowly breaking the family that had never valued her enough to keep her. The first cracks were no longer subtle. The Chen family was beginning to realize, some truths are heavier than lies, and some losses can never be undone. The Chen house had grown quiet, too quiet. The once lively halls, filled with polite laughter and the subtle tension of favoritism, now echoed only with footsteps that didn't belong. Mary Chen moved from room to room, her hands brushing against walls and furniture, as if she could feel Lily's presence again. Every corner reminded her of the daughter she had failed to keep. At the dining table, a single chair remained empty. Mary placed Lily's favorite bowl on it, then quickly covered it with a napkin, as if that could hide the absence. She couldn't bear the thought that Lily had chosen to walk away and never look back. Kevin Chen was worse. He wandered into Lily's old room when no one was around, pushing open the door with an almost reverent care. Everything inside was pristine, untouched. Her books were stacked neatly, her school trophies dusted but in order, and her bed perfectly made. He sank onto the edge of the bed, running his hands through his hair. Why did she leave? He muttered to no one. Why now? I would have done anything. But it wasn't about what Kevin would have done. It was about what the family hadn't done. All the love, all the care, all the attention had gone to Anna. And now the real daughter was gone forever. Anna, meanwhile, felt the emptiness in a way no one else did. Without Lily, she realized she had been living a lie. For years, the family had adored her, praised her, called her brave and perfect, but none of it was real. At night, she would sit by Lily's old desk, tracing her fingers over the wood. She remembered moments she had once taken for granted, Lily protecting her from school bullies, explaining things softly, staying silent when the adults made mistakes. Anna's reflection in the desk mirror felt strange. Who was she without Lily? Who was she, really? David Chen, always calm and rational, finally admitted privately to Mary, "We've lost her." Mary shook her head, tears spilling over. She left because she knew we wouldn't protect her. And now? Anna, her voice broke. Anna isn't safe either. David frowned. We never really understood either of them. We thought we could control everything, but now it's too late. Meanwhile, in the city, Lily lived her life in deliberate simplicity. She walked to work, cooked her own meals, and even learned to repair small things in her apartment herself. She met neighbors she barely knew and started forming friendships based on mutual respect, not obligation. Jason, noticing her independence, said one evening, "You're really different now. Stronger." Lily smiled faintly. "I don't want to be strong for anyone but myself this time." Back at the Chen house, subtle reminders of Lily's absence began to surface. The family doctor, reviewing Anna's files, raised his eyebrows. "The blood type tests were never finalized for Anna," he said softly. Mary froze. "That's impossible. She's been part of our family for years." Kevin stared, silent and pale. "It was all wrong. Everything we believed was wrong." Even David was struck. For the first time, he realized that his emotional distance and preference for Anna over Lily had created a fragile, broken house. Anna began having nightmares. She would wake up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, imagining herself alone, unwanted, unloved. She walked the halls at odd hours, looking at empty walls and silent rooms, wishing she could call Lily, wishing Lily were there to tell her it was going to be okay. But Lily wasn't coming back. And that knowledge cut deeper than any words or arguments could. One evening, Kevin found himself standing at the window of Lily's empty room, watching the city lights. He whispered to himself, we didn't realize how much she mattered until she was gone." Mary, sitting on the bed with her hands clasped, murmured, "I was blind. I loved the wrong child, and now both of them are paying for it." Even Anna, curled up on the floor, understood. The house might be full, but it was empty without Lily. And somewhere, walking past the city lights in her small apartment, Lily was completely unaware of the chaos she had left behind. For the first time in her life, she felt free. But freedom came with a cost. The family she left behind was beginning to fracture under the weight of their mistakes, and the truth that they had ignored for years was slowly consuming them. The next morning, a letter arrived at the Chen house. It was unsigned, but it was unmistakable. The handwriting was elegant, precise, unmistakably Lily's. The envelope lay on the table. Mary picked it up, hands trembling. Kevin opened it, reading the first line aloud. "I've lived my life for you once. I won't do it again." Silence filled the room. The Chen family finally realized Lily had left not out of anger, but because she had chosen herself first. And they had no one to blame but themselves. The Chen house had never been quieter. The halls no longer echoed with laughter or polite chatter. Only the occasional creak of floorboards reminded them of the people who were supposed to fill them. Mary Chen sat in the living room, clutching the letter Lily had left weeks ago. She had read it a dozen times, but the words still stung. "I've lived my life for you once. I won't do it again." She traced the elegant handwriting with trembling fingers. "I should have noticed. I should have seen how much she needed me," she whispered, tears spilling silently. David, standing by the window, didn't reply. He only watched the street below, imagining Lily walking freely, a life untouched by their favoritism and neglect. Kevin, slouched against the wall, clenched his fists. "Why didn't we see it? She wasn't asking for attention, she didn't demand it, and we ignored her anyway." The family had tried everything, phone calls, messages, even sending gifts, but Lily had made it clear she didn't want to be found. And that refusal hit them harder than anything else. Anna, meanwhile, had stopped pretending. She wandered the house like a ghost, no longer the adored daughter who saved the family. Her reflection in mirrors now seemed strange, unfamiliar. Who was she, without Lily's quiet presence beside her? She found herself in Lily's old room one evening. The shelves were bare, the desk empty. Anna ran her fingers across the smooth wood, memories flooding back. The times Lily had stayed silent while Anna took the spotlight, the times Lily had protected her without complaint. "I don't even know who I am anymore," Anna whispered to the empty room. Meanwhile, Lily lived a life completely removed from the Chen family's chaos. Her apartment smelled faintly of coffee and books, her workspace cluttered but comfortable. She no longer feared comparison or judgment. Jason, watching her one evening, said softly, "You've changed." "I've stopped waiting for permission to live my life," Lily replied. "I'm no longer anyone's substitute." Back at the Chen house, desperation had begun to turn into reflection. Mary said to David, "We treated Anna as if she was the only one who mattered, because we were blind. But Lily, she needed us too. And we failed her." David nodded slowly. "We can't fix the past. But maybe we can at least try to understand her choices." Kevin shook his head. "Understanding isn't enough. She's gone. She made her choice, and we weren't important enough to stop her." The family decided to send a letter, not pleading, not demanding, but honest. It read simply, "We finally see you. We finally understand. We don't expect anything, only that you know the truth. We regret everything we did and didn't do." They left it at Lily's favorite cafe, where they knew she sometimes went after work. When Lily read it, she didn't cry. She didn't yell. She simply folded it, set it aside, and continued walking. Later that week, Anna visited her secretly. There was no drama, no confrontation, only two daughters, one real, one fake, both broken and fragile. Anna began, her voice shaky. "I don't know who I am without you, Lily." Lily looked at her. She didn't smile, didn't comfort her. She simply said, softly, "You're not me. And you never will be. That's your life now. You have to live it without depending on anyone else." Anna swallowed, tears running down her cheeks. "I'm scared." "Good," Lily said. "It means you're alive. Now, you'll have to find your own strength." It was the first moment of truth for both daughters. The Chen family could no longer hide behind affection or guilt. They had lost their real daughter once, and this time, they couldn't reclaim her. Lily had faced them without anger, without accusation, without revenge. And that made their failure feel heavier than any punishment could. For Lily, there was no reconciliation. Only a quiet understanding that some bonds, once broken by neglect, cannot be repaired. For Anna, it was the beginning of owning herself, no longer the replacement or the adored perfect daughter. And for the Chen family, the emptiness of the house finally reflected the emptiness of their mistakes. The final scene of the episode. Lily steps out of her apartment late at night. The city lights shimmer across the glass buildings. She walks alone, calm, free, independent. Behind her, the Chen house sits silently in the distance, a home that was too late in realizing the daughter they truly loved had already chosen her own path. She is no longer a substitute. She is finally herself. The city woke slowly, sunlight spilling over the glass towers and streets below. For Lily Chen, mornings had a new rhythm, no schedules dictated by family expectations, no careful measures to avoid offending anyone. She poured her coffee, opened her laptop, and began her day. Her life was small but complete. She had friends she had chosen, a job that challenged her, and evenings that belonged entirely to herself. She had learned how to be unapologetically Lily, and the freedom was intoxicating. At the Chen house, the air was heavy with quiet reflection. Mary Chen walked past the empty chair at the dining table, still instinctively setting Lily's old bowl. Every time she glanced at it, she felt a stab of regret. David sat in the living room, staring at the same wall he had avoided for years. His mind replayed every decision, the subtle favoritism toward Anna, the times he dismissed Lily's feelings, the moments he could have held her close and chose not to. Kevin wandered through Lily's old room once more, the space still untouched. For the first time, he admitted to himself, I failed her. We all failed her. Anna, meanwhile, had begun to discover her own identity. Away from the constant comparisons, she started to understand that her life could be hers, not a performance, not a substitute for someone else. She visited Lily secretly one afternoon, standing awkwardly in the doorway of her apartment. Lily, she said softly. I wanted to say, I'm sorry. Lily glanced at her, calm but distant. For what? For not understanding you, for being me. I didn't know how to be anything else. Lily paused. She could see the fear in Anna's eyes, the desperate need to belong. But she knew there was only one way Anna could truly live, without depending on anyone else's love to define her. Anna, Lily said gently, you can start over. You have to. It won't be easy. But it's yours. Don't be the daughter anyone else wants. Be yourself. Anna nodded, tears spilling quietly. I'll try. Lily didn't reach out. She didn't hug her. She simply turned away, leaving space for Anna to find herself. Back at the Chen house, the parents and Kevin had finally confronted the emptiness that had haunted them. They had realized that the love they had reserved for Anna was never enough to keep the daughter they truly lost. Mary whispered to David, she's not ours anymore. And maybe that's the way it should be. David nodded. We have to live with what we did. We can't undo it. But we can learn from it. We must never treat anyone like that again. Kevin, standing silently by the window, said nothing. But the lines of guilt and sorrow on his face said everything. Lily walked through the city streets that evening. Neon lights reflected off the wet asphalt, cars honked in the distance, and people moved with purpose around her. She didn't belong to anyone. She didn't have to explain herself, apologize, or seek approval. For the first time in her life, she felt whole. She passed the Chen house quietly, glimpsing the windows glowing with warm light. The house was full, but not with her. She didn't look back. And that was enough. Final scene, Lily stands on a bridge overlooking the river. The city stretches endlessly before her. She breathes deeply, feeling the wind against her face. She thinks of the life she left behind, of the family who failed to see her worth, and of the sister who now had to find her own path. A faint smile crosses Lily's face. She no longer carries the weight of being anyone's substitute. She is free. She is whole. She is finally herself. The camera pans away, showing the city in the golden glow of sunset. And for the first time, the Chen family watches from afar, not with control, not with possession, but with the heavy understanding of what it truly means to lose someone you never appreciated.